There's a lot of accidents. A lot of the death was accidents.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It was
Like yeah.
there are some intent here, but the majority is accidents. Like there's a lot of accidents.
Is it accidents or is it somebody causing it to happen?
Throw this out. There's a woman on the upper floor that said she was pushed. Okay, so there's a woman that says she was pushed. In her head, like a knot pain. You know when you get a knot on your head, like a knot pain on the back of your head. So, I mean, like I said, there's some intent here, but a lot of accidents. They say it's a lot of accidents.
I've heard old timers say that house is cursed.
The land is. I can feel it on the land, but there's.
Feel anything outside?
Oh yeah. When we first got here, this was this owned by the same people? This hillside?
Yeah, this is all my property.
It's all of this. There's so much movement here, so much. But what's in the house, there's a lot of coming and going inside. But what is attached to the house itself?
There's only about 4.
There's not a lot.
Yeah.
And the majority is accidents. But that woman, she says I was pushed. Very adamant about it. I was pushed.
I've heard that. I mean, other meetings have said that. So I can confirm what you're saying.
Okay.
A lot of people talk about that.
Yeah.
One of the things that, and I shouldn't say this, but we had a situation last weekend which I thought was pretty cool. We had one of the big phones, the big i6s, you know, and so we called up a medium, right? And then we let her sit in and do an investigation with us. Well, lights out, and she could, I mean, when she would talk, the flashlight would go on and off, the meters would go on, SB7 box would answer her.
That's cool.
And that's when the Timmy came up. And then we said, what about the scratch? Is Timmy the one that does it? He said, no, this is what freaked us all out. Cover your ears.
Let me move, because this is information that I'll probably get later. But
yes, I want you to verify that. He said, she's the one that does it. And we said, who is she? He said, her. She's the one that does it. She's the one that scratches people. She's not here now yet. Be careful. She's the angry one that does it. It's been getting more and more and more active. There are nights that it's slow, but it seems like they're very receptive. We're getting a lot more people that come that are not investigators, just a group to come spend the night. I've got all the ghost hunting equipment, so and I've done it enough now that I walk them through it and show them how to do it. And then I'll leave them for a while and I'll come back. And those groups seem to be the most receptive. Now I know a lot of it's because they've got open receptors. Now, you know, as ghost hunters and as paranormal investigators, you guys go in with, I'm going to debunk it. They go in with a completely different attitude. We want to see it. Let's let it happen. There's no negative. That negative connotation is not there. They tend to get more response than a lot of the paranormal groups that come in. The house is 126 years old. If I got into more of the detail of the story about mineral wells, I would talk about how Judge Lynch, about a block from here, drilled the first wells, and the crazy lady drank the water and started from there. This was the first addition to mineral wells, and Fanny Yeager Kyle bought from the edge of that driveway all the way downtown where the Yeager building is.
Okay.
And she bought it for $250 in 1880. I've got the receipts. I've got everything from 1881, all the way to me. Everybody that's ever owned the house. And she bought all this property, and then here's 501. At 301, they built an exact duplicate of this house, but the porches faced each other. And you'll see pictures of that, but you'll never see a picture of this house. Out of 126 years of history, no matter how many history books you go to, you will not find a picture of this house anymore, which is part of the enigma of this house.
Right.
The other house there's pictures of, but there's not pictures of this house. And I've looked at thousands of pictures. But Fanny Yeager Kyle and Susan Renfro lived here. They were widows.
Okay.
With Susan Renfro's son. He later grew up to be a preacher and went on to Cleveland, but became pretty famous out here still. They were very prominent people here, and of course C.F. Yeager was the pharmacist for the baker, and they're building was the pharmacy for the baker, the medicine lab for the baker. And so they're very prominent in this area. Fanny died, and she liked to be called Aunt Fanny, and it's on her tombstone. She's buried a quarter of a mile away here. Aunt Fanny died in 1924, and Susan Yeager died in 1928. It's after that things started happening.
Now we've heard everything from those preachers that lived here through the bootleg era to where this was actually a bootleg house. And I've got people that say their cousin and his friend would come around to the back and get the bootleg whiskey and take it over to the baker because the cops wouldn't stop the kids. Again, there's legend and there's fact, and these are legends. A lot of the stuff that happened in this house is legends, and we're not going to get fact.
We do know that there was a little boy that accident and hung himself at the side of the house. He didn't die right away. He had brain damage from his air being cut off. He later on passed away a year or so after that. Total about 7.
Holy shit.
I'm surprised you're not affected in this room.
No, I am. It's just not as heavy. He's in there.
Yeah, because he hangs out.
He's in there. So I can't breathe. In my neck, like I'm suffocating. But it's from my neck. Like, I can't take a breath.
A gentleman fell off the roof, and he's talking about the accident.
Who fell through?
I have no idea. I haven't heard any story.
Said I got hurt. I fell through.
So this is on a limestone bed, so that we get a lot of residual here. So we got a lot of residual haunting here. We've got intelligent haunting here. We have visitations. Absolutely, they'll tell us they're visiting. Mrs. Brown, who fell off the baker, will say she's here. We have Spanish spirits that speak Spanish to us. We have 3 main spirits that live in the house. Joshua lives in the house. The lady in the blue dress, we've never got her name. We think it may be Fanny Yeager, but I'm not sure. And the bootlegger that lives here.
Okay.
Madeline stays here, but she was never part of the house. But she's here a lot. During the 40s, one of the working girls had a child. He was born with Down syndrome, and he lived here until 6 when he died. And his name was Joshua. He's one of the main spirits that's here. He's tied to the place. The bootlegger, he's just tied to the place. We've had 11 people scratched, 1 person bitten.
Bitten?
Ooh. Yeah, it was a real nice little bite mark, a little kid bite mark. It was just as plain as can be. People get pushed. We've had several people get pushed. About 4 weeks ago, a guy came in and said he wanted to get bit, he wanted to get scratched, he wanted something to happen to him. He had his daughter with him, and he was talking. I mean, he wasn't being rude, but he was talking some big stuff. I'm not afraid this thing's going to get me. He was in the Shadow Man. Each room has a name. He was in the Shadow Man room here. Something reached out from underneath the bed, grabbed him, and jerked him down. He left right after that. After he fell down, he took his daughter and left because he said he wanted to take her home. He didn't tell anybody what happened because he was afraid of his daughter finding out. But 2 days later, he showed that lead investigator the fingerprints, the 4 fingerprints and the thumbprint where he got jerked down.
I've got emails from other people that have been here back when people lived here that said they got jerked. One girl got her leg broken so severely she couldn't drive for 6 months. So people getting grabbed and jerked down is a common thing here too. Not common, but there's 3 incidents we can point to that happen.
We have been followed home. We've got 6 incidences of people being followed home. Other people have claimed it, but we've got 6 pretty well confirmed incidents. One of them was my house. He came into my house upstairs in my younger daughter's room. He threw stuff all over the room, broke stuff. We heard it going on when it was happening. Then the next night he held my other daughter down and scared her pretty bad. The next night after that, he held my best friend down, who had been here. If you take something from the house, they'll generally follow you. I've had people bring stuff from the house and call me up and say, God, I actually stuck this in my pocket while I was talking to people. Something's been banging on my door for the last week. Can I please just bring it back? They'll bang on the door of this trailer sometimes at night trying to wake me up.
Wow.
All night long they'll bang back and forth on the trailer. So we get a lot of activity. There is a shadow man. He's very, very, very no bueno. I have personally seen him. You don't know about this. I've personally seen him with my own eyes. Now there's shadows that you get here, and there's things that walk around that you'll see that are shadows, but the shadow man is completely different. And it was about 6 weeks ago, because I don't spend the night here. I'll never stay here by myself. I hardly ever come up here by myself. My wife will not come to the place, and I own it. I've had it for 2 years. I decided that I was going to try to spend the night, and I'd shut everything down, and the group was leaving. They were just starting to pull out, and I was standing in the back of my trailer, and I said, okay, it's 3:30 in the morning. You got some authors coming out to leave you a book where they put the house in it, and they're going to be here, so just man up and go spend the night in your house. Nothing's going to happen. About that time, something out of my right came behind me, and it was just this feeling that I had. It was just, I've never felt, the hairs were just standing up on my arm. I felt evil like I've never, ever, ever felt it before. I knew I was in the presence of something very evil. It came around behind me and it stopped. I caught it in my peripheral vision. I looked over at it. I said, oh my God, that's the Shadow Man. Very typical, very tall, all in black. And he was tracing when he showed up. So when he was coming this way, that way, he was tracing when he was moving so fast. He stopped here. I looked over and saw him. I said, my God, that's the Shadow Man. That's insane. I'm looking at the Shadow Man, Shot. I watched him go all the way down the side of my trailer and then turn around behind the back of it. So this is not something I caught out of the side vision or
you
it was kind
fully.
of like I watched him go like that and turn that way. I knew that he was coming back and making another run at me. I could sense it. I could feel it. I got in my Jeep and beat the bumper of the people going out down the driveway. I didn't want any. I would have sold you the house for $100 right then on the spot. The next night I came back and we were upstairs and one of the girls was kind of provoking him and said, I don't believe in you. I don't think you're here. Prove you're here. A huge chunk of tile fell off and hit me on the head. That's when that investigation was over. I went home that night. So, things can happen that can spook you pretty good.
So you think be careful with provocation then?
We had a group try to provocate last week when I wasn't here. When I came in, I had the diviner rods, and I said, is somebody here? And they crossed for me. I said, open back up, and then they pointed straight to the guy. I said, well, point over here to the girl. They pointed straight to the guy. I said, this is really weird. And they all started looking at him. He walked to that side of the room, and they followed him to that side of the room. I said, well, this is really weird. They're following you for some reason. They all went, you shouldn't have done what you did and said what you said. And he goes, I know, it caught me. And it was just wherever he would go, those divine rods would follow him. And I said, well, what did you say? And he goes, I don't want to say it, but I'm sorry that I said it. And they didn't have a lot of activity that night. The other girls that were there did, but when he would go into the different rooms, he wouldn't get activity. He did something to make him mad by provocation.
The room upstairs, what I would call the nursery, that room, this room, and that room have had both windows in them.
Had what?
Windows in them. Not a window like a window, but like a portal. That one hasn't been closed. And it's not very big, but it hasn't been closed. And I think that's why he's in there. That's why he likes that space. As they come in, I think he may be a collector. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of accidents here. A lot. I don't know the history of Texas, so I don't know how far up or how far down, but I keep getting adobe. Was this adobe land at one point, or Indian land?
They lived around here, but a lot of the Indians, I understand, wouldn't come around this area because it was kind of considered bad medicine.
I don't know, but I keep getting adobe, like the adobe. But there are shadow people on the land. And they've shown themselves to either you or to people in the home. They've gone at night, they go by the windows. They don't come in the home, but they're on the property. I don't know what that means.
I'm getting my hair because my experiences.
But they show themselves. They love that. Do you know anything about shadow people? Have you heard about shadow people?
Yes. They love.
They love that you're bringing people here. They're feeding on that energy, but they stay outside because they don't want to interrupt what's going on here.
We've seen them in the house.
But they've shown themselves to either you or and people in the home
Other
when they're
people
in here.
Yeah, I got a picture. We got a picture of the shadow. Our T-shirt has a picture of the shadow man.
Yeah, when Star and I walked over to the wood line, and I could see them.
Now there's the shadow things that we see here, but then there's a shadow man.
Okay, so
shadow man's about this tall, all totally black, hat, totally.
okay, so that's not a shadow person.
Yeah.
That's this man. That's how he presented himself to me in this room.
Yeah. The shadow man
As just a shadow. At some point, I will make him show me his true self, but he's projected himself as big and as a shadow person because they're on the property. He wants people to think that he is what they are because he is negative, but they are complete negative.
Really negative?
If the shadow people are negative, they're not. They thrive in influence and. They're geared more towards people who, or properties that are damaged. So if there's a property that's damaged, they'll flock to it. If there's a person that's damaged who has drug addiction, mental instability, alcoholism, who's been abused or who's an abuser, they tend to flock to those people or those places. If something bad has happened here, they generally flock because there's negativity here that they can thrive in. He isn't a shadow person, but he projects himself as one because he knows that they're scary and he wants to be just like him. But he is strong. He draws. If he can change himself in that way, he is definitely strong and he is pulling energy from every person that comes in here. And especially in that room, that is his space. He doesn't tolerate, especially mediums, and I'm willing to bet you've only had a handful here.
Quite a few. A lot.
But they're affected the most, right? People leave here with scratches on their arms and backs, bruising, they get pulled.
With pulled and punched, and people run out of the house screaming.
He's definitely, he's the alpha. He's the main.
There's more to that.
He's the main, and I think we discussed about an ex earlier, and he came in and he was like, yeah, my ex. And my ex.
Oh, I can show you that.
And he
travels around the house.
I think he used it. He said, I'm proud of what I did.
I'm going to show you the axe.
So, he, is there a suspect of a murder in the house?
Several.
What with the axe?
We're not sure.
Okay,
I'll show you
because
the axe.
when we bring up the axe, he laughs. And he's like, yeah, my axe. And then he says, I'm proud of what I did. I'm proud.
The axe showed up in the middle of the hallway. My degree is in archaeology and anthropology. I have a minor in paleontology. The area that I look at most is Pleistocene. I'm kind of a paleoarchaeologist. I've got a new species of dinosaur that I found.
Oh,
I
fantastic.
published. I've got two papers that I co-authored on Semitic Cretaceous dinosaur. The dinosaurs of the Semitic Cretaceous primarily inhabit soil. I've got an archaeological site which we found 14 skeletons on. I'd say that's still what happened to those things. So I mean, I find stuff. This is the point. I find stuff, and I'm not bragging about what I do. In the middle of that hallway one day, my friend comes in and goes, when we're trying to clean and get things going, he goes, hey, what's this whole accent doing in the middle of the hallway? And I went, I would have seen that. That's something I wouldn't have missed, So I picked it up and we keep it in the room in there and it travels around. If there's a chest in there, if there's a room we keep it in. No, it's a room. It's the actual. If there's a chest, and sometimes it's on top of the chest, sometimes it's on the mantle, and sometimes it's over the floor. And Armando and I were sitting out. This is a year after we found that. This year. We were early January, something like that. It was still real cool. And he had got here. None of them were here yet. And we were sitting back on that little rock wall back there, and we heard a little girl giggling up on the hill. Now there's no way there's a little girl going to be up on the hill. We could hear it. Armando grabs his millimeter and a couple of things. We take off as far as we can go up the hill, and he's getting like 6.0 readings up there. And there's no electricity up there. And I looked down and I found a handle to this.
It's perfect. So, yeah.
Well, I think up there is where
Maybe when you
something
taste
can
that.
happen because we were drawn up there and I kept telling her something happened up here.
Can you tell us about anything at the top of the hill?
One of the things they would do for fun at the turn of the century was donkey rides. And this was the hill they would take the donkey rides.
Oh.
So, research center.
Huh.
We're a research center. I've opened this up so serious paranormal investigators can come in here and do serious investigations. And then people that just want to experience it, we try to give them a real experience we had. Last week, a lady came into the room and she said, I'm here with this group, but I'm going to tell you, I do not believe in ghosts, and I think that you said stuff over here. And it's entertainment, and I'm not mad at you for it, because these people are all having a great time, but I think you said everything that can happen here. I'm going to be keeping an eye on you for everything that you do. I said, man, that's not a problem. You don't insult me. It'll take a whole lot more than that to insult me. I'll walk outside. I'll go out there and spend the night, and y'all can do it all on your own. And the girls were going, no, you're really leaving us here. We're not here. Where do we believe? We're not here. Well, by the end of the night, she left. They all freaked out. They freaked out there was so much stuff going on there last Friday night. They were just like, the girls were like, it's home. She's like 21-year-old girls, the mothers. And she walked out and she said, I believe it. And I believe it's a bootlegger, and I can show you the bootlegger.
That's okay.
There's horseshoe magnets. The history of the house. There's a small little room off to the side, and it has horseshoe magnets in the wall, and we think that's where they had a fake
Wait,
wall.
so the vents, they come from the vents. Did they crawl into the walls to put things into it? Were there spaces in the wall where they
If
would...
you go upstairs, there's a room, and you look to the side, there's this weird little room off to this little hallway room to the side, and a door there, and it just doesn't fit. Why is that room there?
Because the kids, there's a boy who likes the upstairs room. What I would call a nursery. Well, at least he was in there with us. He said, I like this room. But then...
Did you get a name?
No. When I center myself, I'll be able to. But as we were walking out, or as I was walking out, they were kind of stationary, but as I was walking out...
Well, they're just all gathered up right over there, aren't they?
Yeah. They're very curious that why we're here. But they know that we're going to do a tour. They want to know why. But he kept saying, oh, they come from the vents. They're coming from the vents. So, are there vents here? I asked if there was the old radiator vents, you know what I mean? The old radiator vents.
There may have been at one time. No, because it's all gas.
So I asked if he said they come from the vents. So when you said bootleg, I could think of the vented walls, the hollow walls. But that's why I asked if they store things in the walls.
There's a whole small room, and the wall has horseshoe magnets on it where they would put up a fake wall.
Oh, okay. But yeah, he kept saying they come from the vents. So,
Does the name Josh?
yeah, is Josh or Joshy? Does that mean anything? Okay. Yeah, we were outside by the bathroom and I heard, hey, Josh. So,
What do you want to know about Josh? Anything, or you can tell me later?
well, let's see what happens later.